Well, good morning, everyone. Do I have a great show this morning? And I'm sure most of you know Naomi and Gene Smith. So I'm just going to bring them on right now and we'll get going to the show. So here we go. There we go. Naomi and Gene, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Good. I'm so glad that you're here and spending
Yeah.
time to tell your both your stories. So good morning to you. It means a lot that you're here.
Yeah. And the dogs are here. And
That's good though.
yeah.
And you have a couple of grandkids with you.
Yep. They
That's
come and stay for the summer.
good. That's great. They probably love it.
Yes.
And you know what I was trying to think of? Why don't we start before Gene's stroke? You know, what were you doing and leading up to that?
Working.
He, he worked
Yeah.
for for the Genie division of Terex,
Ah.
and he ran the paint system there.
Right.
And they make Genie lifts, the big man lifts.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's what he did. And that was his last job, when he had the stroke, that's what he was doing.
Right. Right.
So
Interesting.
before then, he had been a supervisor for a large freezer company that
Right.
they stored frozen food and stuff.
Wow. Well,
Yeah,
and you
he was
work
in
too.
ever. Yeah, I had worked for my dad, and then when my dad passed away, I took over his company,
Oh.
and then we subcontracted with Boeing company,
Right.
and then Boeing hired me to work for them, and so I worked for them until that ran out. And then I did some little stuff. I went to college, and then I ended up taking care of my mother until she passed away. She lived with us. And from there, I took care of some other people. I took care of kids until we're here now.
Wow. Wow. You see Salute saying hello? What's that,
Hi,
Gene?
Salute.
Now she's taking care of me.
I understand. I understand how that goes.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I'm
So
glad to have him around to take care of.
yeah, me too. And so leading up to Gene's stroke, how did you know it was coming, or just right out of the blue?
No, I had some friends in town for my 40-year class reunion, and we were going off for the day to hang out during the day. Gene had a doctor's appointment, and then he had and to go out of town for another doctor's appointment. Well, when he got to his first doctor's appointment, they said, "You're having a stroke." So they called me and said, "Well, Gene's worried about his truck, of course." So my
Yeah.
friends took me out to get the truck, and the ambulance was still there. So I went in and I talked to the doctor. He told me that Gene had had a stroke, and so I met them at the hospital. That was in 2014.
Yeah.
2014. That was the first two strokes. He was in the hospital for a week that time. He didn't have a lot of deficit except for cognitive from that. And then it was almost exactly 5 years later that he had the four strokes last summer.
Wow. Four
So,
strokes in the
four
summer.
strokes in one day. Yeah.
Wow.
So I
Well, they
moved
weren't
it.
seizures; it was strokes.
Yeah. Yeah. They were strokes.
Wow.
They figure he had a blood clot pass from his heart and it broke up and hit his brain in four different places on the left side.
Wow.
So yeah, and he remembers everything until they gave him the TPA. He had a reaction to the TPA, and he everything swelled up and he quit breathing. And the life flight crew, intubated him
Oh.
at the hospital. It was a little podunk town hospital we were at,
Right.
and the doctor was like freaking out. He was screaming at everybody, and he was losing his cool. And so the flight crew took over and intubated him. And so through the TPA and stuff, he ended up with a lot more damage to his throat, his tongue. I mean, he bit into his tongue. Everything just swelled up.
Wow. Wow.
And so he doesn't remember anything from the time that they gave him the TPA for almost 2 weeks later.
Wow. Wow. So how long were you in the hospital?
Over a month. He was in ICU for a month and then about a week in a regular room. And we were 4 hours away from home at that time.
Wow.
So
did you have so right after that you went to therapy?
Yeah, he went, inpatient therapy. He came back here to where he was only like an hour away from us.
Right.
Therapy. And they were awesome. He loved it there. And then we came home and he's still doing speech. So
yeah, you're currently going to speech therapy now.
Yeah, hopefully, as long as we can keep it going. They did the scope yesterday and looked in there, and his vocal cords are actually moving a little tiny bit.
Good.
So we're going to slow down therapy and hopefully things will progress and start moving better.
Right.
He's just going to do it like every 2 weeks. And because for insurance, you got to show improvement to keep going.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do, is to stretch it out and get as much improvement, let time do its work.
Right.
And yeah.
So
he's,
wow. So
he's supposed to talk to the grandsons a lot, Walsh.
Yeah, that's so fun. Are you doing some? Are you on meds? Currently meds with
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just blood pressure, and he's diabetic. And through all the trauma that he's been through in the last year, his kidneys are down to 22% function.
Wow. Wow. Interesting.
So we're trying to keep the diabetes and the blood pressure and stuff in really good control, so
Right.
it doesn't do any more damage to his kidneys, because we're trying to hold off dialysis as long as we can.
Yeah. No, I agree. You don't want to be on that now. So as far as, because Gene looks great. You look great, Gene, and look like you move well. And so, any other deficits from the stroke?
I can.
He's got some right side weakness. He has cognitive issues.
Right.
He's memory loss. He moves and does stuff pretty good for himself. He can't drive anymore. He can't make big decisions. That kind of stuff. He doesn't have a lot of energy. He doesn't. So, he doesn't have. It's funny because after the first 2 strokes, he had really bad balance problems. He fell quite a few times. He'd just fall over.
Right.
Especially when he climbed a 9-foot ladder. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I was so mad at him. So,
I'm sure you were.
Yeah, but the speaking is the biggie, really.
Right.
So yeah, for him it's the biggie. For me, it's like a combination of stuff. Yeah.
Right. So, and you have quite the family. You have 11 grandkids.
Yes. Yeah, and and it's quite a conglomeration.
Wow.
From 28 down to, I think Liam is 6 now.
6.
So yeah.
Wow. And do you ever attend or have you support groups, or because I know family is so important, and it sounds like you've got a great big family.
Most of them are gone, not here in town. hasn't gone to support groups. He said if I would go with him, he would go.
Oh,
Have to. I get that.
Oh yeah, I have to because he can't drive and he can't talk.
yeah, yeah. So there's no choice. So you're going with him.
Yeah. So, but there is one that's just like 3 blocks away from the house.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
Do you attend that?
No, we haven't at all.
I guess with this pandemic, it's a little tougher.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's going on since the pandemic because we got all the information when he left rehab on everything.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You can move in a little closer so we can see your beautiful faces. There you go. That's terrific.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what everybody else is saying.
Yeah, I can. Let's see here. The ones that are here. I mean, a little shout out to Salud. Good morning,
Yay, salute.
Mike Peters from South Wales.
Lynette, hi.
Do you see them all?
Lynn, yeah, I can see Farron. Good morning, Farron. Where's Serena?
That's right.
Serena.
Oh, there she is.
Hi, Sherry. And Dawn. Hi, Dawn.
And you can also see who's watching that has not said hello. Yep. Good morning, Sherry. I can see you out there, and another Sherry.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I'm not getting the ones that I don't know. Oh, hi, Alicia. That's our oldest grandson's mom is here. That's Alicia.
Oh, nice. Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So what else is going on?
Well, we're still trying to get into the groove of getting everything done, and especially with summer hitting, because last year we weren't here with summer. We have just been fighting to keep that done. That's just been a lot of work. I've just been really overwhelmed this year. And so yeah, we're trying to get a vacation in sometime too.
Really? Wow. Just you two, or with all the kids? Well, you got to take the grandkids because they're with you.
Well, the 2 boys are here. Yeah, I think what we might go with our son and his wife and those kids. Or if not, I'm going to get away with the girls. One of the two.
Right, right.
Our son said that he'd stay with Gene either way. If Gene stays home, then Brian said he'd stay here with him.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
Well, so really it was just like the high blood pressure attributed to it, do you think?
It was a combination of the diabetes and the high blood pressure. Yeah.
Wow.
They really don't know what caused it because he doesn't have AFib. They don't know why. 6 years ago he would have had a blood clot, and then 5 years later have a blood clot again, and they can't find any sign of anything causing them.
Wow.
So
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, and it's really interesting. There was no signs, and luckily you were at your doctor's while that happened.
The first one, yeah. The second one was a mess.
What happened on the second one?
We were out. We had gone to a friend's cabin to see his cabin, and it's out in the Mount Rainier National Forest.
Right.
And so we had just pulled onto his property when Gene tapped me, and I turned around and I just told Mike, I said, turn around, he's having a stroke. And I called 911, and we met him out. We got to the main road and met the ambulance out there.
Wow. And that was, and you were out in the middle of nowhere.
Yep. Like I said, we ended up in this little podunk hospital. It was crazy.
Wow. And from there you were life flighted?
He was life flighted, yeah, to Olympia, Washington.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which was good because that's only like 20 minutes away from where our daughter lives.
Right.
She was right there with us the whole time.
And you're currently living in Washington.
Yeah, we live between Seattle and Spokane,
Right?
and we live in the desert. So
Wow.
yeah.
And that's where you currently are right now.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's good. So Gene, it sounds like you're doing well
Yeah.
because you look terrific. You absolutely look terrific. Always got a smile on your face.
It's bad.
Yeah.
No, he
Yeah.
smiles a lot. He's got a really, really good attitude. I'm the
Well,
cranky one, and he smiles.
wow. So how's it been for you, Naomi? How's it been for you? Oh, well, both of you actually. I was just wondering how, as far as a caregiver, because
As
you
a
both have a great
caregiver,
attitude.
it's hard. When I had my mom, I had help, and then when I've cared for other people, it hasn't been like 24/7. And
Right?
this is just kind of us two in it together. Our son has helped out some since the Corona whole thing, pandemic.
Right.
He didn't want us going to the store and stuff, so he'll do our grocery shopping. But pretty much like all the work and stuff is falling on me. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Because I know that it's tough. 'Cause I know with us, same thing as be a caregiver and me as a stroke educator, as
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah,
Bassard said.
yeah, I like that. Stroke educator now.
Yeah. And so now Barb had to take over the bills and really take over everything. Besides, she works.
Yeah. See, and
So,
I took early retirement when he had the first strokes. So the first two strokes. And that's when they put him on total disability after that time.
right. Yeah.
So yeah.
So 2014 was the first stroke. And then was it 2018 was the
19.
next 4?
2019. It's been almost
19.
a year now. Yeah. August 8th.
I'll come up.
July 8th. He had August 1st. He had of 2014 was the first one. July 8th of 2019 was the 4th. Yeah.
Wow. So as far as the no stroke, so you go to the doctor obviously to get checkups all the time and just to make sure there's no lingering issues.
It's really slowed down. It first up until the pandemic thing, we were going to probably 4 times a week. We were at doctors.
Really?
But since then we've seen his ENT twice, and we don't go back there until August, September. And we've seen his medical doctor once.
Right.
And we do Zoom with his nephrologist, his kidney doc.
Right.
Yeah.
And no seizures.
He had one. And it was thankful that I had been involved in and got to know you guys, because when he had it, I knew it was happening.
Really?
Otherwise, I don't think I would have known.
How did you know again?
Just from you guys and what everybody you other educators I've learned from you guys. And that's why I got involved in the stroke groups and stuff, was so I could understand what he was going through, his point of view and be more empathetic to him.
Yeah.
So, and I've learned so much, and so when he had the seizure, I knew it was really amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible. I know I haven't had seizure in quite about a year, I think, maybe, but
yeah.
But it's tough. Yeah, seizures are not fun.
His didn't didn't last very long, but yeah, he still had his G tube then, and he had a hold of that bad boy and was pulling on it. It was like,
Wow.
and he didn't remember any of it, he was like, I just got him, I went, Gene, and he just sort of looked at me, and I'm like, you just had a seizure, and he was like, really? I thought I was just sitting here.
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, seizures are so different. I mean, I don't know how long Gene's lasted. Did it last long, Gene? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember anything.
It was only a couple minutes.
Yeah. And
He just stiffened up and started, like, I don't know. He was just went back, got stiff, and his arms were, jerking.
yeah.
But I was able to stay calm, and, and I just let his doctor know the next day. I knew that there was nothing they could do, no reason to call an ambulance or anything.
Right. Yeah, that's tough. But so did he suggest you don't go to the hospital or anywhere?
Right. He said they're not uncommon for people who've had brain injuries, and that if it happened again, then they would look at putting them on medication.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, unless it happens, they're not really worried about it.
Yeah.
So,
Right now, I'm just looking because I wasn't seeing some of the comments, so now they're all just coming through right now. So,
yeah.
So
Dylan must be related to you.
Dylan is my son, and he
Okay.
trying to hopefully what he said. I can only see.
Yeah, Dylan said, what motivates you to keep pushing forward and remain positive? Gene's the one that pushes forward more than I do.
Right.
He stays more positive than I do.
Well, that's good, though. Yeah, I appreciate the question. And I'll also like to hear some from the audience. Are there any questions? And I'm glad Dylan, my son, asked that, because that's a great question there.
Yeah.
What motivates you?
A lot of it is you guys have motivated us a lot.
Yeah, it is. I know, and that's what I get a lot out of it. Just you said, Naomi. Yeah, and I see these, for some reason, these comments are not coming up on my side here, but some of these people, Aaron, do you know Aaron out there?
No.
Well, good morning, Aaron. Alicia, I know you knew her.
Yeah. I know Dawn.
Yep, there we go. And Danae, if you see that name there, do you see it?
Yeah, I see Danae. I don't know Danae.
Yeah, he's another. He'll be on Thursday telling his story.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so nice to see you. But yeah, so I missed that. Sorry, Gene.
Well, I have to watch it.
Yeah. Funny guy, Danae. But yeah, so it is nice to see a really positive, Gene, throughout all this. I mean, especially, I've had one, and you've had, is that 5?
6.
5 strokes. 6.
6 strokes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I told him he can't catch up with Lynette.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
he can't have no more.
You didn't beat. Yeah, you only had 6.
Yeah, and then when they took out the first trach that they had put in,
right,
there was a lot of damage done. They had gone through the cartilage in his windpipe, and so he died after that. They went in and they were trying to figure out why he wasn't breathing.
Right.
And he was struggling. He'd throw his head back and just be gasping for breath. And I'm taking him to the hospital. I'm taking him to doctors. And the hospital here actually told me not to bring him back.
Wow.
And finally, we found a doctor in Wenatchee, and they went in with the scope, and he came out and was telling us how bad it was. When Gene coded, his whole airway collapsed, and so it was just a blessing. God was totally in this with us
Yeah.
because he was in the hospital when it happened. So then they had to intubate him and stuff. So between being intubated twice and trachs and stuff, he's got so much damage that he'll have the trach the rest of his life.
Oh, is that what they say?
Yeah.
But you're still working on, you're doing speech therapy, and that's gonna improve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, he's improving all the time, you know.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, and we've got different things. And watching Tom and Salute, he decided he liked doing tongue twisters, so he's using that. Even his speech therapist is using that as part of his speech therapy now. So yeah.
It is motivating to see all the other, like Tom and Salute doing their thing every morning. You know, all these shows.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah, and get experts on too. Like, you know, Dr. Sullivan. Yeah. So she'll be on here on July 9th.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I like Dr. Sullivan.
Yeah,
and I love the show with Paul Cummings. And Paul's just such an inspiration.
He is
amazing.
Very upbeat.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I love about these things. I started watching got involved with one group, and they were all so negative all the time. I was so glad when I found you guys. You guys are all so positive and keep going. And
well, I'm glad you like it, because it's so important to be positive, even for the caregiver, because I know that can't be easy for the caregiver to, you know, deal with us. This stuff, I know what we go through in this household. It's tough, but
I read something and it was actually written by a stroke survivor, where he was talking about, for the caregiver, we live in the world we've always been in, but
right.
We also have to live in the stroke world. So we're balancing both worlds, you know, and it was really interesting the way he put it. I was like, wow, that's exactly how I feel. I feel like I'm in two worlds, and yeah.
Right. Well,
so
I'm glad. I'm just you can't maybe see this, Gene. Salute is saying, "Yay! Thank you, Gene. So happy you like doing the tongue twisters."
He did the Betty Butter one. Nice.
So you're trying to watch all these.
Yeah.
That's a long one.
That's a long one,
Yeah, I agree. It's funny. And I'm just bringing some of these up. What do you want, Gene? Just like with Mike Peters here, he's from South Wales, United Kingdom, says we are a unique species.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
We're blessed to have your unique species with us.
Yeah. Well, I'm always inspired with both of you, seeing your comments in the chat room and stuff. It's great, and your post, Naomi, all the positive quotes you're putting out there.
Oh, well, thank you. Some people say I'm too preachy.
Oh, really? Oh, Gene. Yeah, you're terrific. So
but you know, without God, we wouldn't be where we're at.
I agree.
You know, and we know that. And we look through everything that has happened, and you know what He has brought us through. I couldn't have done it on my own. There's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And you said Gene was in the hospital. I mean, the ICU for a month.
Yeah.
That's probably the longest one I've heard.
The swelling that was the big thing, was all the swelling he had from the TPA was not going away.
Wow.
And then plus he had bit his tongue, and so there was lacerations in his tongue, because his tongue was so swollen, it was sticking out of his mouth the whole time he was intubated. So the doctor, it was funny, Dr. White went in after they got him off the got the trach in, and he looked at Gene and goes, "You're not going to like this." And he just forced Gene's tongue in his mouth. Like, but yeah,
But Gene couldn't say anything then.
no.
Yeah,
It was funny. He made his own little sign language up in there. And we all got to where we learned what he wanted with different signs he made. So it was really cool.
wow.
And
Wow.
nurses are great with him. So yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Those. I'm glad you had some good nurses and doctors. It sounds like, but for a month in the hospital, that had to be tough on you, Naomi.
yeah, I came home with our daughter right there. I came home for like 4 days at one point, and then I went back. And then I had come back home again, and that's when they released him during that time.
Right,
And so I
right.
just met my daughter, brought him halfway to us, and I met her, and I brought him back to for therapy, for inpatient therapy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and being a caregiver, when you go home, did you think, what do I do now? How do I take care of him?
Yeah, and we were just I was in mad panic mode of getting the things we didn't know if he's going to need a wheelchair full time, what he was going to need. So, and it was amazing. We had people bring us a wheelchair. Gene's best friend went out and bought him a walker.
Wow.
So we had people come in and work on the bathroom for us. Just people just came when I was home, and just it was overwhelming.
Yeah, it really is. You find out who your real true friends are.
Yeah.
And that's important. Yeah,
really
and what's that?
No, it was good that those people were there.
Right, and you see, Mike Peters says he was in the hospital for 5 months, and his wife was training to be a priest.
Oh my gosh, Mike!
Wow.
My daughter has our one granddaughter has been in and out of the hospital a lot. She's had 13 surgeries. And so her and I, through my caregiving experience and my daughter with her daughter, were big advocates in the hospital.
Right.
And yeah, so both of us they knew that nobody was going to cross the line when we were there. And there was always somebody there with him to make sure that he was taken care of properly. And, and I think that's a big, important thing. That's what bothers me about when they say people go into the hospital now and they can't have family with them. Well, who's advocating for them? Who's making sure? I mean, yeah, most of the people are there and are good workers and stuff. They're overworked right now. They're tired. Heather and I took over a lot of Gene's care even when he was in the hospital. We did the suctioning of his trach. We did so many things, and it breaks my heart to think that somebody would be in the hospital without somebody there with them to do that, to be that in-between person.
Yeah.
And to take care of them, because that is really, really important.
Yeah, it is really important, because I could never imagine, because when I was in the hospital, same thing. There was so much support with me all the time, family, friends. But like you said, this pandemic is really causing an issue. You're not going to have anybody. You're by yourself. I mean, that's got to be tough. And the stories I've seen, I'm sure we all seen, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. I said there's no way they take him through the doors of a hospital without me being glued to him.
Yeah.
And when he was in Wenatchee here close to home, he was fine with me coming home at night and stuff, but in Olympia,
right,
he would panic. He did not want to be there alone at all.
Right.
And there were, a couple of cases where and I know Salud's gone through this too, through things she said, where you really have to step in and put your foot down and say, time out, this isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And we do that for our loved ones. And I just think everybody has a right to have that advocate there. Even one of his nurses in Olympia said, if I ever end up in the hospital, I want you there advocating for me.
Yeah. But that's good, though. what a trait. I mean, it's really important to have somebody like that there, right? So who else is going to ask those questions that are hard to ask or they don't feel they can ask?
Yeah, yeah, it's hard, and just to have there, like I said, when there's people overworked or they're tired and stuff, sometimes they just don't do the things that need to be done.
Right.
And I'm not gonna. I had one girl. I just flat out told her. I said, I don't care how mad you get at me, but you're gonna treat my husband right because he's the only husband I got.
Yeah.
And she walked out of the room. She came back the next day in a totally different attitude.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can turn ugly and grow horns real fast.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Gene knows. Yeah. In the middle of the night, because it's tough to sleep in the hospitals. At least for me, it was real tough. So I always had this one guy come in the middle of the night, the worst time, to take more blood. And I was there for about 2 months. I finally got so fed up with it. I asked my nurse, "Can you tell him not to come in the middle of the night?" And because he didn't care, they just shoved the needle in, and it was very painful to go through all that.
Yeah. Well, Dawn asked a really good question. It's funny, Dawn, I was there by myself, and my best friend lives in South Dakota.
Right?
So I had a little room at the place right there at the hospital. And when I was walking over to the hospital in the morning, it was just beautiful. The campus there was gorgeous. I would call Dee, and Dee would pray with me every morning.
Nice.
Well, she had a problem come up and she wasn't available for me. And I was just at a loss because I was in this place where I couldn't even find the words to pray. It was good that she was there to do that for me because I just couldn't find the words. And I got to the hospital and God just gave me this where he says, I will go before you and make the crooked places straight. And it just gave me such a peace knowing he's always gone before me. He's always gone before all of us. And he's there making those crooked places straight. And
Right.
I just knew that I could trust him with all of it. It was, I was in that valley, but I wasn't alone in the valley. And it was just comforting to know.
Yeah. I know that's really important. Was there a chapel in the hospital?
Yeah, it was a Catholic hospital.
Okay.
And there was a chapel, but I never really used that. I go out and I walk around. There was so many trees. It was just like, that's the tree side of our state. And it's very green and just lush. And I go out and I just walk around out there. And there was like little prayers and stuff on little plaques around there. And I would go and I just walk around outside and do that was my time to pray and calm myself. And so, yeah. And it was
yeah. I'm glad to hear that. That is important. Did you have I just keep looking back at mine. I always had this one gentleman that came in once a week. I was out of it, and he always, what I found out, he was a psychiatrist just to see if I was all there, and all he wanted to do was chat. I thought, well, a nice guy. So, did you guys have any like a psychologist, psychiatrist, somebody come in periodically?
No, none.
Maybe it was me. That's the problem.
It was a neurological ICU.
Yeah.
That he was in. So there was a neurologist there 24 hours a day.
Wow.
There was a pulmonologist there 24 hours a day.
Wow.
And and it was just, that's all they did in that, because there's 2 different ICUs in the hospital, and that's all that one did was neurological stuff.
Right.
And then when he got out of ICU, he went to the stroke floor. But yeah, there was, when he was in Wenatchee, a priest, one of the chaplains would come in and spend time with him. But he hasn't had, had any counseling. We've talked about it because I think he has a lot of PTSD from the trauma to his throat and having it collapse and not being able to breathe for as long as he went for over a month where he was really struggling to breathe. And
Right.
so we've talked about maybe getting counseling to help him with that, because even having like the speaking valve on now, it kind of stresses him out. It
Yeah.
makes the breathing a little bit different. And
Yeah. No,
so,
I agree that you can move on the camera tiny bit more there. A little more. Well, Gene, you're on there. But Naomi, I just wonder because when you I hear a lot. It's like 90% have PTSD, and we go through this as a stroke um, educator now. That's what we call ourselves.
yeah.
But when you go through the what we've all been through, trying to figure out where I lost train of thought, but when we go through a stroke, most people do have PTSD, and I was told by one of my aunts saying, it seems like I get a little more agitated with the people that we love. And so going to see with a counselor, for me, I was embarrassed. I don't want to go see a counselor. I'm admitting that I'm wrong. I'm not going to go have some, I don't want to say quack, but that's important to do that. I think I haven't been, but I need to, just because I think it'll help.
He it's funny because he doesn't remember most of the hospital stay. So, and when they talked to me
Right?
in there, they said that I would probably, they said most of the time with stroke survivor, with stroke educators,
Right.
you don't have so much PTSD as your spouse will, because we remember every second of it.
Yeah.
We go through
Good
every
point.
second of it and we remember all of it. And she said
Yeah.
she said, you've got to take care of that. You've got to realize that you're going to have repercussions from that. Where
Yeah.
he doesn't remember that much. So
And
he does remember not being free.
Yeah, real quick, do you see what Salute is saying? She's saying, Naomi, sit on Gene's lap to keep you in the screen. But yeah, I completely agree. You don't think about the caregiver as far as what they've been through, because I talked to Barb. She doesn't want to go back to that time.
Yeah.
She does not want to go back that time when she's sitting in the elevator crying hysterically, which I never knew.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No.
But so yeah, so it's a good point you bring up.
My daughter kept saying, yeah, my daughter said, I can't believe how strong you've been. And then one day I just totally lost it. I was just like, whoa. Yeah. And so the next time I started to cry, she was like, no, you already cried. You can't do that no more. It was like,
yeah.
It's so traumatic. I thought I'd lost him when we were in the first hospital. And then to sit and watch what he went through was just, it was, and then I had to be prepared to tell him, because when he wanted to know, our daughter had taken pictures from the moment he had arrived at the hospital, because she was there at the hospital waiting for him. And so she took pictures from then, and I don't know, he did something to make her mad one day, and she flipped the picture at him. This is what you did to me.
Gene. Yeah, I know it's this is tough. I say this all the time. Stroke is not for the weak.
No. No, and it's funny because he had a lot of anger issues after the first one.
Right.
I think I've seen him in the last year maybe get angry twice. He's so happy all the time.
I could see that.
I told his doctor, I said, it's like I've had 3 husbands. It was the one I married first, the one that I had after the first 2 strokes, and now I got this one, because his personality has changed every time.
Yeah.
Well, and he keep life interesting.
Yeah. Well, look, Gene every time I've seen you, any picture or whatever like this here, you're always smiling. I love that. What an attitude, because you have to get through all this. I know is
That's because he's got me.
yeah, that's right.
But yeah,
But yeah, I'm trying to keep up with these. I every so often I like to say, "Hey, Jan, I'm glad you found us." Alan, good friend, thank you for being here. And
yeah,
Serena, glad you shared this show so other people can look and get inspired. Their story, it's incredible. It's a great story. Um, but Mike Peters, thank you for commenting too. Bless you both. You two are very inspiring, Gene and Naomi.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, and trying to raise awareness.
Yeah. Yeah, and and I want to thank you for raising awareness for the caregiver too.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna have a show. Paul and I get along great, and as you know, he's very inspiring,
Yes,
very upbeat. He says to be using your hands all the time when we're talking, and so we're gonna do a show coming up, and it's really just about the caregivers this time, because we don't talk about caregivers enough.
Yeah. Not that you guys aren't really important.
No, yeah, exactly. But you're right, Don Hogan. Humor keeps us smiling.
Yeah,
It's so true, right? I mean,
definitely.
and for me, yeah, keep yourself busy. I mean, I know for me, just like Lynette Price says, about getting yourself, having a pity party for yourself.
Yeah.
You have a right, but do you have a right to stay there? No.
No. No. Not at all. And I look at, like Jan, I don't even know how she does it. I mean, I've told her before, I am just amazed at what she does.
Yes.
Because she is both the survivor, educator, and she is a caregiver. And that's, a lot on her plate. I am really, and then you got Lynette, who is all alone through all of it. It's just, you guys are so amazing to me, and your drive and your will is just, it kicks me in the rear end a lot.
Well, look, speak of with you. That's what at least I think of when I think of you. The drive that you have, the inspiration, and what you're doing to help other people out. I mean, who cares about the posts? Are great. I mean, if you want to post 1,000 of them out there, hey, it helps me. I love it. The new dog, right?
No, that was our dog.
Oh, okay, well, that's great.
That was our boxer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's
yeah. They're all happy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. But again, let's see here. I know we're getting close to the end here. And it's true. I love seeing these comments out here. I don't know if you see them. Like Mike Peters, small challenges every day. Yeah. I mean, it's you've got to keep working at this. And so, Gene, do you keep working on like speech every day?
I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
I don't.
See the honesty, and that's true. I mean, I should be doing we all should be doing more than probably we all should. We say we do this. I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm going to start doing this. But I do walk a lot just because I broke my hip, so I have to. But sometimes I don't want to. I just want to sit on the couch.
Yeah.
I have footprint out on the couch.
You have a butt print on the couch. Yep.
Yeah. I know. And it's funny because when I had my stroke, I had to sleep only. I don't know how you sleep, Gene, but I have to sleep on one side, my non-affected side. And over the 8 years, I put a dent in it, so we had to get a new bed because it got so uncomfortable, and it was bad. So I'm trying to
I
sleep
just
other.
put doors around so that side could poof up again.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah. So let's see here. Oh, so okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Jan. But this is a journey. I mean, as you all know, it's not for the weak. I know we say that, and every stroke has their own fingerprint, because your story is different than Jan and mine, or Salute, Tom, everybody,
Yeah.
Mike Peters.
Yeah.
So we
Serena,
all have
yeah.
to, but we all, like, for me, I learned from this group, so I can see what other people are doing, and like you said, Naomi, it helps you. This support group, this little community, really makes a difference. It's changed my life.
Well, and it gives me, because it's hard for Gene, even before he lost his voice, to really tell me what he was going through.
Yeah.
So it's really given me a sight, from his side. I mean, you guys all your stories are different, but I still get an idea of what the stroke survivor is going through.
Yeah, the similarities.
Like the tiredness and
Yes.
the brain fog and all that stuff. It really gives me an insight, and it helps me be a lot more compassionate.
Yeah, it is true, and like for me, some Barb knows now. If sometimes out of the blue I get so tired, I probably can't sleep, but I need to just rest for a bit. So I get in the bed, and that's all just like that. But that's it. But anyway, that's true. But there are a lot of similarities, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
So Jan, we all have.
I thank all of you for sharing your stories, and helping me through our journey.
Yes.
If I wouldn't have found you guys, I mean, I had just found you guys just before he had the 4 strokes. It was like 2 weeks maybe before he had the 4 strokes.
Wow.
And so just being able to go to the website or the chat room or something, and just, even if I didn't partake, I felt like I was part of it.
Yeah.
And it helped.
Yeah. It does. So it helps you out.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. It's exactly. No matter what. Yeah. And like Don Hogan, no matter what, find a way to be inspired.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah. So,
and some days you have to really look hard, but
yeah, I agree. So, and during this pandemic time, it's tougher and tougher.
Oh, it's been really hard. Yeah. Especially, I hike. That's my big therapy for me, is my hiking.
Right.
And I have to do one hike this summer, and that's hard. That's a big part of my getting out and, with nature and God and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're hiking by yourself?
No, there's a group of us that hike.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, sometimes you're just quiet. Sometimes you lag in the back and just, I just love all of it, because everything about it just reminds me of, what God's given us, and
yes.
the beauty, and even little flowers growing in sand, or, just anything. I just get excited about it all. So.
Yeah, it's so true. I really agree. I mean, you don't realize, like, when you're in ICU, whatever, Gene was for a month, and I was in there for 9 days or whatever. When you get out and you're alive, and you think, wow, now I appreciate that, what I thought a dumb little flower. Now that thing's pretty awesome now. I mean, all the little things,
Yeah.
The birds chirping. I mean, I don't know how you did, Gene, for about a week or two, my wife had to tell me the birds were not real as far as they don't talk because I was talking to them and I thought they were real.
Yeah.
It's funny what your brain goes through.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's such a trauma.
Yeah.
You know, he had a beautiful view when he was moved to the stroke floor because it was on the 9th floor of the
Oh,
hospital.
wow.
He just looked out at the mountains and it was just gorgeous out there. He had just the most amazing view at the hospital for that last week he was in.
Right. Well, good. Well, good. Well, it is just about time, but I don't know if there's any parting words that you want to say, Gene and Naomi, anything that you want to say to the community out there?
Just keep on working at it.
Love it. Keep on working on this. How about you, Naomi?
Just I'm just thankful for him, and I'm thankful, you know, just for every day we have. You know,
Yeah.
I've really learned to cherish everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Exactly. And I love to end with me. It's just, if I can remember, today's a gift and let's make it count
Yeah.
because it really is. But, again, Gene and Naomi, it's my pleasure to have you on. I really sincerely mean that. It was great.
Thank you. It was
So,
great.
everybody, have a great day. And Jan says, "Love you, Gene." And they're going. So, yes, thank you all.
Yeah.
I'm glad you showed up here and took time out of your day to spend it with Gene and Naomi and myself. We appreciate it.
Thank
So,
you guys. Love
all
you
right.
all.
So we will see you. Well, I'm sure we'll be talking soon.